Bam. Knock, knock. Is this thing on? Yes. I think it is. Hola, buenos. What's going on? What's happening? You've clicked it. You've done it. This is Gut Instincts Podcast. I'm RJ. And you are tuning in to my podcast. This is my podcast. We've been doing this for some time. If you are hanging out, thanks. Hey, thanks. I love you. And my new friend Rose loves you. If you haven't listened to the last few episodes, that's a rescue pup that I rescued from the local pound. The local concrete pound. It all happened so fast. It all happened in one day. I went over there and I saw this lots of dogs, right? Lots of dogs. And it was hard. It was hard to obviously choose one, and I didn't think of just choosing one. And how do you do that? So I've been looking to adopt a dog for some time now, and I want to let the universe bring one to me. And as I kept saying that, it wasn't happening. I don't know if it was not enough meditating, or still I'm not being patient, or the egoic energy within me is getting all riled up. Anyways, right, I go there and I see this wonderful dog. Her name's Rose. And, she was crazy active, and she's a pit bull mix, definitely not full. She does that really cool thing when the back legs, when they walk, that labs, I think it's labs do that. They do the hip thing. Any of you dog owners would know that. But anyways, I don't want a little lap doggy thing. She jumped up to me, gave me a big old hug. They called me because they needed a home. So, yeah, it happened. But Rose needs a nice big yard in the area that I have access to. Isn't a big enough yard for her. So she's going to go to a wonderful home, and she's going to enjoy that antler while we chat today on our podcast, Gut Instincts Podcast. And what are we chatting about today? Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about cannabis, right? Because that's what we're about to pack a bowl of. Not just cannabis, but basically how cannabis is a road or pathway to natural healing or alignment or clarity. Not for everyone, right? Not for everyone. It could be for everyone, but what I mean by not for everyone is there are just a plethora of plant medicines, plant spirit medicines, right? In the Amazon jungle, right here, everywhere. From herbs to full plants, leaves and barks of plants. These all exist around us. Our Western medicine all emulates it or tries to emulate it. So basically what happens is, and what you and I don't really know, are these large corporations and large companies, they pay people, scientists, whatever, explorers, to go out and to seek this medicine, to go out and ask these questions within the Amazon jungles, with the shamans, and go to the Far East and talk to the most ancient, Chinese medicine workers, the most, they do this, right? they bring it back, and the whole thing is, can we sell it? Can we turn it into something that is profitable? Okay? That's literally just how it works. That's how the economy, the world economy, has shaped or has been shaped, and how it's been perpetuated, right? It's been perpetuated by greed, by the illusion that we are not all connected, the illusion that we are not all one, the illusion that some deserve more than others. Now, if you're already listening to this and you're thinking, well, but I kind of agree with that some deserve more than others, then I don't know. You already may need to do some inner light finding. And I mean that in the most gracious way, my friends. I'm not saying that somebody who wrote a book, who created music, who's done something astonishing, has brought in ideas, even if it's multiple people, brought in ideas into reality, because that's what we're seeing. Everything starts with an idea, starts with an energetic thought, which becomes manifested into words. That's the next step, right? Because you start talking about it. You want to change things in your life, you start talking about the changes. But the key to this is you can't talk about these changes as if they're not here or they're coming. You have to embody these changes, so already be these changes. Obviously, it's really hard. You could say, well, how do you stay rich if you're not rich, or stay healthy if you're not healthy? Well, you need to just accept why you're not rich or not healthy, or what's going on. Go through that and keep focusing on what you see the embodiment of you in. Because next thing you know, you're going to blink and you're going to have what people would call a deja vu, which I believe is a deja vu, because it's funny, because we talk about deja vu and somebody explains it, and that person explains it, we all have our explanations. They're all kind of different, right? They're all different. They're all unique. They're all our own. So basically, these what I call deja vu moments, which I just had the other day, which is why I want to tell you. Did you light that up already? That's okay if you didn't. Those of us who are going to medicate will medicate for all. Because we're all raising our consciousness and working together to create a better... Hi. I'm doing the podcast. Can you chill for a little bit? I don't know if you just heard that, but you'd never guess who came and decided to stick her nose in the area. Anyways, I knew having a dog was going to be like a child, but I don't know what having a child is like. And having a dog is pretty crazy. So what's having a child like? Hey, hats off to all you moms, dads out there. You better be doing your best. I know you are. Anyways, what were we talking about? Yeah, how cannabis alters your consciousness in the sense of it just gives you a different perspective, and I think that's what it is. It's just perspective, and I think any of you who have listened to Joe Rogan, I think that's one thing that he's explained very well. Is like smoking cannabis gives you a different perspective to what's going on in your life, to what's going on around you, to your situation, everything. See, this includes physical, and that's where we're having Crohn's, and medicating with cannabis is so important because, for so long I had perianal issues, which is problems with my colon, right? Treacherous problems. So it's always been, and I mean, and if you count the surgeries and such, once I passed my mid-teens, it becomes like a perpetuated negative system that you get lost in, and you have no answers because the way the system is set out, it's set out to not cause failure, but perpetuate a specific frequency or, specific unhealthy situation, I guess, to keep you going. And I mean, obviously, I'm not saying every doctor doesn't care about you and wants you to be dead. It's just the ideas towards our health. And I mean, this isn't just the West. This is sort of mixed up. And obviously, throughout the world, we all have different healing aspects. And I mean, this is why I had to turn to cannabis. And then when I turned to cannabis in a very interesting manner, I then opened my eyes to just other not strange, but to sort of energetical ideas that I had dismissed. That goes for crystals and magnetism and light energy. What is that? Rose decided to bring something into the room, and it looks like trash. You're really getting this podcast episode really just unprofessional, or maybe, I don't know. Hey, you know what? I never said I was professional, right? So screw that. If you guys are here, pack another bowl, roll another one up. Was that an intro? I guess. 12 minutes, call it an intro. Here's some word from our sponsors here. Oh, wait. Oh, we don't have sponsors yet. That being said, if anybody's looking to contribute, of course, contact Gut Instincts Podcast. Go on the website, rjmartins.com. Check it out. You can email me, rjmartin77@gmail.com. For now, I got a lot of fun things happening. Obviously, it's been pretty hectic. I removed recently. The reason why we're talking about this health issue and problems because I've been, I recently went to the doctors. I went to have checkups. I did blood tests. I did all of that. Right. I did. And I had a pretty wonderful experience. They're all new doctors. It's all new setup, whole new state here in the Northeast, and yeah, it's all been really great, and it all came out relatively well for what's going on. I'm anemic, and I got low B and D vitamins and that sort of situation. But you know what? In the Northeast, I'd say the reason why so many of us are just pissed off, it's the funniest thing, right? Growing up in the Northeast, when I moved out to Southern California, I realized everyone was just happy. It was absolutely blissful, right? Everyone's happy. And then I'm like, oh, it's because of the weather, obviously. That's part of it. But the other part is, well, I guess it's all connected to the weather, right? Because it's the sun. You don't have enough sun exposure to your skin. You don't have, the correct sort of mechanisms happening. So, I don't know. Should I be going to a jungle? All humans can't live in jungles, right? We live in all sorts of areas. So, I think it's just a matter of adapting, because as human beings, we can adapt. And we have all this technology that lets us adapt with ease. And all this hidden technology that's going to come out soon, going to be disclosed. I don't know if any of you have followed any of this stuff that's going on. Graham Hancock and some others are doing some serious work, and we're all manifesting this together. Because if you've listened to some other videos, I've expressed that I hate calling it 0 point energy, because usually people just zone out, but the magnetism, AC, alternative current that's surrounding you, the perpetuative essence of the ether, if you will, can be harnessed and used. And there are also components that can be used with this. I don't know if I lost you, but basically I'm talking about your whole anti-gravity type deal. Your whole, all of it. Invisibility, cloaks, hoverboards. Anyways. Now you're thinking, what the hell did I tune into? What did I tune into? Listen, you tune into Gut Instincts Podcast. Thanks for hanging out. Light your bowl up. Honestly, Rose brought me this paper thing. I don't know what it was for. I don't know if it was a sign. You try to ask a dog what it wants. It just looks at you. So, cheers to that. Cheers to you. So yeah. Using here's what we're gonna mainly talk about, and it's gonna be a little complicated getting into, but we're just gonna tap the surface, right? Because if I sit here and I go through, here's my thing, and I'm hoping that you're hanging out in this podcast and you're digging it too. I don't like reading. Well, I don't like saying don't like things, right? So let's just say that. Let's try not to do that. I prefer not to, or prefer to avoid speaking out of others' words, or relaying words via articles, or I don't know, just the idea of reciting someone else's words, especially when they're complex and sort of in itself, like you'd have to, like when I read, for example, scientific journals, I have to stop and pick out like 3 words out of like 4 paragraphs, and I have to actually research those words, find out what those words mean, plug them in a conceptual manner into the damn report, and then conceptually understand what the hell they're talking about. Now, I don't know if it's meant to be this way, but it's just how it is. And any of you who like research and who've gone down the rabbit hole in any sense should be able to relate to that, I think. I don't know. But, alright, basically, what I'm saying is the endocannabinoid system. The endocannabinoid system is what I'm referring to in a subtle sense as I light this up again. The importance of quality genetics is one that's overlooked as well, as far as the cannabis plant. And it's really interesting. I think that most of it is genetics, and you'd be surprised how easy you can grow the plant, just like many of the little plants, just as tomatoes. By the way, this is the bullshit that Rhode Island it pulls, right? Starting this year, you have to purchase, right? You have to pay money to the state for tags, for tags, for cannabis plants. If you're a patient, right? You're a person growing a plant for your family, for your mom, for your brother in a wheelchair who can't speak, for your grandma who has arthritis and can't fucking open her hands. You know, for that toke or two that will subside that excruciating heartburn or indigestion that's happening, because that's just standard, because your body is has been roughed up. It doesn't matter, right? So they're having people, besides putting a limit on it, again, putting a limit. Listen, if you can grow 25 plants, good for you. Good fucking job. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of love. It's a lot of energy. If you think you're going to get rich off of it, you need to do your search again. It's just not the way it works. Here's the problem. The idea that it is still a cash crop, if you will, is still alive and well. It's alive and kicking. It's actually more alive than I thought, but honestly, those of us who don't follow in those footsteps know that it's a fad. It's a fad, right? It's what it is. It's those sparkly jeans. It's the fucking tall tees. It's the baggy pants. I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with any of that stuff. I'm just saying, like, these situations, fads, they just bubble up and they go away. And they bubble up and go away. And some even think that cannabis is like a fad that will just bubble up and go away. And you know what? Those who do have no idea about the way humanity is moving forward. Now listen, I'm not saying we're all going to get together, we're going to be on we're going to be eating plantains. We're going to be on, large co-op lands, and we're going to be holding each other's hands and kumbayas around the fucking, around the fire pit. Listen, if you want to do that, that actually sounds pretty cool. I don't know about the kumbaya part, but fire pit's pretty cool. I don't know. Anyways, whatever. But what I'm saying is, it opens up the realm that's been closed for so long. There are obviously so many angles between William Hearst and the demonization of hemp, industrial hemp, to obviously shift away from hemp production, which is sustainable, to lumber. Why is it sustainable? Well, here's my number one: is it's regenerative crop. There's another term for it, but basically it uptakes sort of with access high, not chemicals, but things that are in the soil that aren't that great. It actually can pull it up. This is why growing cannabis organically is so important. Do you see what I'm saying? Because these actual plants are almost like cleaners of the soil. They just pull all of it up, and they produce these beautiful flowers for us to medicate on. And there's nothing wrong with natural outdoor cleanup, but remember, the cycle has been shifted by us. You always have to take, nobody likes to take into consideration the human effect, and that's why I say the human effect. The human effect is basically, factor in us, factor in what we're doing. So it's like, oh, okay, so that means growing outdoors is fine, but you can still use chemicals, but are you eating the chemicals? Listen, yes, you have to grow outdoors. If we're cleaning up Fukushima, which they are doing, you're planting hemp trees, thousands and thousands of hemp plants. They grow quick, and they pull it up in the soil. It's a way to create the regenerative process, breaks things down quicker, makes the soil healthier faster. You're not going to go smoking that herb, that radiated herb. You know what I mean? Like, you're using it for a specific. Same thing with mycelium mushrooms. It can do the same thing. It can be used for oil spills. That's what they're looking into research now. Obviously, if you're listening, maybe you do or don't know Paul Stamets. Look up his stuff, right? There's a lot of moving forward that we're going to be doing together. That cannabis is sort of the mother of, the head hen, the mother hen, the one that's going to be pushing everyone in the right direction. Who else is coming along? Psilocybin, mushrooms, okay, ayahuasca, which has the DMT, which is which is in lots of other plants, which is produced in our minds. It opens up a realm to the possibility that the mind and body and soul is one, and we need to start talking about that and start creating acceptance and love. And see, how I can tie free energy into Canada, I don't know. If I lost you, you're obviously not listening. Peace out. If you're still around and you're hanging out, I don't know. Maybe you're feeling like Rose. She looks at me like she wants me to do, so I don't know if she wants to go out. I don't think she wants to go out. Give her the bone in hopes that she would just chill while we do this podcast together. But, 20 minutes is like all you get. That's insane. It's just like, that's it. You blink your eyes and something that you thought. Yeah. Now I'm just complaining. I love it. It really is heartwarming, and having a pet, if you don't already have one, is life changing. I think it's important having another heartbeat. Obviously I'm not really into like lizard. There's enough lizard people doing shit, and I don't need any lizards in my life. But like dog, I was thinking about a cat. I'm not really a cat guy. I enjoy them. They're a little more closed off. I'm closed off enough. I kind of want something to be in my face and kind of just pull it out. I'll blame it on the Aquarian situation, but I don't know. It makes sense to me most of the days, and then most other days, I'm like everyone else. I'd like to point out that, those so-called gurus and such are just like us as well. Whether or not they show it, because they're not doing podcasts, they're not blogging, and not everyone likes to share their personal insights and feelings. And even when they do share, right, through Facebook, through Instagram and such, it's usually like a cloak, And obviously, we can't share all of our feelings at once, and obviously we have all feelings. See, this is where, when we talk about, hopefully you'll love my book, because it'll go into this. The left brain egoic linear thinking versus the right brain fluid divine feminine and the aspects of the brain, and then you have yourself, your higher self, and and we're in there. We're all in there, and we all have our thoughts. And as I talk to you here now, I have thoughts in my brain. I have thoughts of words, thoughts of what I'm going to say, where I'm going to go. Most of the time, you just let it flow. Like that's the problem. When you get all nervous and you have lots of things going on in your mind, or in your life, meaning like, oh, you got cleaning to do, you got to make this for your kid, you got to do this. When you stack those up, it causes the depression or the consumption of your life where that's what I've been like, and you get stagnant and you get sick and you get a little off, and that's cool when you do that. Right, here's my favorite thing to do: accept it and love it. Love that you're at that point, because that means you've literally like overindulged in activities. So many activities. That you have life development to do. Like, if you have a list of things to do, think of what's going to happen when all of that is done, like when you've already embodied all that, right? So then when at that point you have to see that list and say, wow, I already have embodied that, because time doesn't exist essentially. I mean, it does, sure, in the linear sense, because we have to deal with it. Yep. Sleep, wake, the sun, Amen, Ra. Anyways, when you follow the flow and you're just like, oh, it's just yin and yang, it's just light and dark, it's just a flow. So the hardest part is keeping up your goals and just doing your day-to-day. The day-to-day seems to be my most complicated issue. Day-to-day is like, well, here's what I've come down to the conclusion of. I sort of put my theoretical arm out, reach it out, and then I go, okay, what can I get done today that will help me closer to giant goals, smaller goals, right? Smaller goals meaning like I gotta make some raw chocolate, right? What can I do today to make me closer? Now, some days I need coconut oil. Others, I just need to get my ass in there and spend an hour or two and do it. Might not take that long. It's pretty, but usually you end up doing other things, right? Anyway. I am not yawning because I'm tired. I'm yawning because together we connected with the higher self. Did I tell you about the ahs, the oohs, and the ah? The ahs, the ah. I think I did another episode. So right, when you scream when you sigh, when you yawn the ah is the connection to the higher God or spirit or the highest creator. I don't know which highest one. I'm not biased, man. I know there's a hierarchy in a sense that they're all existing, but yeah. But yeah, so that's what that means. It's a good thing. So yawn away, fart away, laugh away, scream away. Scream in a good way, too. I'm not going to talk about the negativity in screaming, because remember, it's not really negative and positive. It's like opposite energies. Sure, it's negative and positive when it manifests itself, but essentially it's the same energy. Yin and yang. I think I said that already. I don't know. Anyways. Did you finish up? I didn't. Some really, really quality pineapple. Wonderful tasting. It's got like a sort of a fruit underlining that lingers above your palate, with sort of a hazy, not dirtier, but sort of a darker feel in the sinuses after it's said and done. Really wonderful, and it sort of just lingers in between your palate and your upper sinus, right? Goes up to your brain, and then about 25 minutes it'll go down to the lower back and really give me that lower back pain relief that I look for. I heard that a long time ago. Doing weights, man. I was doing weights, man. I was doing like creatine. I was doing pushing up the weights, and trying to get big. Yeah. I mean, you know, the human body is only supposed to represent what you want to represent. So, if you want it to be big, then you could do that. If not, um, I'm more of an optimal weight, sort of just seeking a health, um, a healthful being. Yeah, a truck heard me. And you know what I gotta say? Yoga, I think, helps a lot. I think it's defining. I think it's insanely defining. I think it's more useful than people are giving it credit for. I think the stigma of sort of a yogi and that sort of situation, some people are shy away from. A lot of masculine men just sort of laugh at the idea of stretching profoundly or awkwardly for a length period of time. Listen, try it out. Try it out at home. Try it out right in your right in your room. Right with your dog. Um, that's the way to do it. I tried the whole. Oh, there you go. Going to this. Going to do yoga. Just a class. What time's the class going? You can put on my shorts and walk out the door and drive. That didn't last long. It just, the idea of going somewhere else to stretch, to listen to someone else stretch. I mean, if it's for you, it's for you. But I want to sort of just shed the light on the normality or the option that everyone has their own thing. I mean, there are a lot of other options. And then, of course, there are other classes being created that are less, okay, now you're going to put your leg up and reach up to the sky. And it's like, boop, crickets. And I got to say, it is peaceful, and it really is. It's amazing. But yeah, I just I get my herb. I roll up, one of my favorite, or what I'm feeling I need for that day. And remember, this is, what's funny? This podcast was supposed to be about the CBD endocannabinoid system, right? Well, CB1 receptor, CB2 receptor. Basically, the cannabinoids that are inside the trichomes, inside the cannabis plant, right? That is what the medicine is. That is what is doing all this. That's what's giving you pain relief. That's what's giving you the headache relief. That's what's giving you they're just cannabinoids. They're all different kinds. They're all different forms. There's activated and unactivated. It's mind-boggling, to be honest. For me to spit out, to say that I'm a professional at it, that'd be lying. And other people, if they think they are, that's lying as well. We are learning. Everyone has their own knowledge. And what I've been looking up is that there's clearly a CB3 receptor, right? Clearly. That's what major scientists have already established that. And then they've established that if there's a CB3 receptor, that there's also a CB4 receptor. That's just obvious. And at that point, I'm going to actually be the first one to say it. And you know what? I'll put my foot down, and I'll be the first one to say it. That way, in years from now, when it all comes out to light, you'll just remember this little podcast in your little mind. there's definitely 7 to 9. There's 7 to 9 CB receptors within our endocannabinoid system. Our endocannabinoid system is directly overlaid with or correlated within our central nervous system, our nervous system. Whether it be the actual system itself is connected or it's actually the same system. I'd like to actually say it might even be the same system. But again, that's going to go far, and then that means that our relationship to cannabis and these plants, because remember, cannabis isn't the only one that has cannabinoids, is more than we think. Same thing with fungi. Remember, fungi is not a plant or an animal. It's actually closest to a human. It breathes oxygen, and it releases carbon dioxide. Okay, like a human. Psilocybin mushrooms open up our mind, our consciousness, and give us the ability to accept things and move forward, which helps depression and also, depending on the dose, can give you a complete altered reality or aspect of your consciousness and of our life that I think every human being deserves the right for, right? Which means taking this garbage off, taking them off this illegal or off the federal list. Honestly, just abolish that list completely. Get rid of even the systems. The idea that these drugs are a problem in which they are focusing on is not the way that humanity needs to move forward with. It's actually the closest I'd say would be Portugal and probably some others, and they're nothing is illegal. You have the right to do anything to your consciousness as long as you're let your spirit, your consciousness, experience anything that you like, as long as you're not hurting someone else. And if you have issues, it's a problem that we need to work with together, and we're here to help. And those who object, mostly it's the egoic energies saying that why should I be helping a crack addict or some sort of, blah, 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 when, blah, blah, blah. Remember, most of your tax dollars and most of our money right now is going and killing innocent people to perpetuate the idea that the U.S. is sovereign and better than others. I'm not going to go into that. Come on, you can do that. You can go down the rabbit hole. I want you to be able to grow your plant outside on your porch without stigma, without bullshit. If I sound a little testy, hey, sometimes I get a little frustrated. I get a little, because what I'll be doing is I'm looking at these so-called laws and shit that they're trying. And again, like Rhode Island trying to have these patients pay these monies to label, okay, these plants. You're making people pay for a plant, then you don't even know is going to survive. Like, do you realize if you have 3 seeds or 4 seeds, and one of them dies 2 weeks in because you forgot to water it or something happened, or your dog ate it or something, right? Or it tipped over and it never came back. You have 3 left. You've already lost that money. You're still paying you're still paying everything. Unless if you're going outside, obviously it's a different story, but you're still paying, soil and nutrients and food and gosh, I mean, there's so much that goes to it. You talk to a farmer. I mean, the same thing. You have overhead costs. You have these costs that people just don't factor in. You see an end result or an end number that someone's getting, and it means nothing. It means nothing. That being said, light this up. I think the endocannabinoid system and the CB1, 2 receptors and more to come are interesting. I think they correlate completely with our central nervous system, which helps us ease whether it's physical, mental pains, and connect our systems and create a healthier, more stable environment, which lets you move forward. Remember, it's like you can't. I don't know. It's interesting. We're going to be. I'm sure we're going to be absolutely astonished at the amount of actual help it does. Just so you know, you have to open your mind and say, yeah, even if I don't smoke cannabis and I don't, want it, there is that truth there. But remember, it needs you to also open your mind to the fact that, okay, well, maybe Western medicine isn't exactly what it's all cooked up to be. Okay, now I understand that they are there to sell prescriptions and get bonuses, and I understand that even though some people's intents are swell, the system at large is not so swell. But the buds that my friends and you guys are growing are swell, my beloved friends. So that being said, I think that's about good. I think we've done really great. I think we've done great. What do you think, Rose? I don't know if she'll be here when we talk again, but regardless, I want you to know that I'm gonna keep tabs on her, make sure she's doing swell. I know she'll have a great life as she puts her head on my foot right now, right? And so yeah, thank you for tuning in to Gut Instincts Podcast, where we question everything and sometimes we go down the rabbit hole. Sometimes we go a little too far, but I promise I'll bring you back up. I'll bring you up. We're gonna light one. We're gonna stay high. Happy Friday. Stay fried. Make sure you support your local farmers. Spring's coming up. Start planting your herbs now. I'm sprouting my seeds soon. I should have done it last week. I'll just do it next week. Time doesn't exist, right? Don't forget, rjmartins.com. If you feel it in your heart, be a Patreon. I could really use it. Or just help out in any way you'd like. Don't forget, I'm on Instagram, CBD Healer. Peace, I love you.